and you should see something on your end possibly that says send Raw Sports Films a request to join. You may have missed it. It may have just slid by really quick. Oh, all right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I may have done it on my end. I think I did it. I think I did it. There we go. There we go.
Took me a minute there, my bad.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. It's one more thing. The connection is a little bit bad on your end. Like I can see you a little bit, but it's a little bit choppy a little bit.
All right, let me see what I can do here.
Yeah. We halfway there. We halfway there. We halfway there.
Let's see if I can get a better joint from. Any better? I know the video. I know.
What is it? What does it look like on your end? Like what does it look like on your end?
I got a good picture of you. Everything good on your end. Let me see. I got one bar though. I don't know why it's giving me
Yeah,
that.
it's just a little pixelated on my end, but I mean, if that's cool for you, if you can rock with that, I mean, I'm okay.
All right, let's rock with it. I'm gonna see if I can play with the Wi-Fi here. See if I can get that popping. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
ain't no rush, man. Ain't no rush. I'm on your time. We good money, man. And it may even kind of clear up a little bit, but I'm good, man. If you want to just rock out like this, as long as I can hear you crystal clear, I mean, I can see you. We good, man. As long as you can see me clear, hear me clear, we good. Oh,
I got
somebody
you
said go
good.
to the kitchen.
That's my daughter right there. All right, let me
Hey,
rock the
the
kitchen.
youngest, the younger generation, they know best. They know where the Wi-Fi is best in the crib.
Yeah, they probably do. They probably do. They on their trip home. Hope they safe on the way home.
No
All
doubt.
right. All right. See what we got here. Anyway, I'm good. So let's go with it.
All right, let's rock out, man. Hey, so I just want to thank you so much, Rap, for joining me, man, here for Legends Week, man. Legends Week is all about two things, man. Just paying homage to the, to legends like yourself, man. Doing all I can to, help to solidify your legacy and just say thank you for all that you've given to the culture, all the entertainment, man, and just everything that you've done for us regarding, basketball in college and high school and beyond. And also, this platform serves as an education for the younger generation, man, just to let them know who came before them, who laid the foundation, who were the guys who, paved the way, man. So that's what it's all about here, man. Just saying, just my gesture to say thank you for everything that you've done for us, man.
I appreciate that. That's way too much love. We can have a really conversation in that, but I appreciate it. I got much love for what you're doing and anything I can do for the basketball coach.
No doubt. Hey, one more thing. Sorry to be a bug, man. You might want to go to wherever you were sitting at. Sorry to keep making you going back because it's actually like now it's going in and out where I can't hear you that clear. So if you can go back to possibly that other room, it was a little bit better in there actually. Yeah, I can't. If you're talking, I can't even hear you. Yeah. So, all right, here talk. It's a little frozen. Hey,
Any
your
better there?
daughter. A little bit better. Your daughter, are you on the crib Wi-Fi or are you on this like the regular network? Because your daughter said you may need to change the network connection.
Tell them I'm on the Wi-Fi. But tell. Let's see how this works. Was it working any better? No.
A tad bit. But if we run into any issues, we'll just adjust accordingly. But we good though.
All right, maybe I slide. Go ahead, go for it, and then I'll work on it while we talking.
All right, cool. That works. All right, well, we're gonna get right into it, man. Just want to say, again, thank you so much for joining me, man. Two things. We're gonna play a quick little game. I call it 10 random questions. Just throw 10 random things at you. Toward the end, we'll have a little Q&A with the people. If anybody has any questions for you. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's perfect right there. That's good. Yeah, that's perfect. That now I can see you clear and hear you clear.
All
That's
right.
perfect. Yeah, so we'll have a little Q&A at the end if anybody has any questions for you. And if we close on our first hour, we'll just end this video. I'll have to save it, and then we'll just come right back on and just pick up where we left off. All right.
Okay. Yes.
All
Sorry
right.
about the slow start. Yep.
Yep. No, we good, man. I'm on your time, man. All right. So 10 random questions. Who is your favorite R&B singer growing up in the 80s? Whether it's
Oh,
Philly area, I mean anything.
R&B singer. Man. All right, we're gonna come back to that. I'm gonna think about that one for a second. Let me go
No,
back.
well,
Let me think
I got
about
one
that
for you.
one.
All right, well, you can think about it, but real quick, Luther or Freddie Jackson?
Oh, Luther.
Luther, hands down.
Hands down.
No doubt. Most points you ever scored in the game at any level, high school, summer league, college, anything.
39.
39. And
39. Yeah.
where and when was that at?
Man, I think that was like youth basketball. I think that was like youth basketball. I think high school was 35 and college was 30.
Got you.
You know I get that rock up, so you know.
I know that's right. In the 80s, everybody watched wrestling. I don't care where you were on the planet.
For
Everybody
sure.
watched WWF, ECW, NWA, Road Warriors, Four Horsemen, all that. Who's one of your favorite wrestlers individually or wrestling crews back in the day, tag teams?
I was definitely a horseman guy, so you know I banged with Ric Flair. But my squad was the Anderson brothers.
No doubt.
Ole and
Arn
Arn
Anderson.
Anderson got it in. Yes,
Hey,
yes.
which one got rolled on by the crew? Was it Ole or one of them got
I think
rolled
it
on?
was. I think Ole got rolled on. I think Arn and turned on Ole because he's the
Yes.
old head. Yeah.
Almost broke his leg and everything.
Oh, they beat him good.
Crazy. Locally, who were some players, either your peers or some players a little bit before you that may have inspired you coming up? Who'd you look up to playing ball in the hood?
I think well, back in our day, we had a true Sunny Hill platform that was really good, and I tell people all the time one of the best experiences I had was um, my Sunny Hill sophomore team. We hadn't lost any games for a while, and we was beating all the old head teams. And we show up at the gym one day, and it was Lionel and Hank and Doug and Bo Kimball and Doug Overton, and I think it was Macon. I think it was Macon was on there. And they balled us down and like really put their arms around us and told us we could play and we had a future in it. You talking about that was like three of the top scorers in the country, two of the top rebounders. So I give a lot of shout out to that crew right there. I'm a Delco PA guy, so I got love for I got to go see PENNWOOD play. That was Lamont and Hugh, and then I got to go see Chester play during that time frame and get to witness their runs with like Billy Owens and Carlisle. So I got to witness some great ball.
No doubt. So back in the day, did you I didn't go to my proms because I was like a shy guy behind the scenes. That just wasn't my thing. But did you attend the prom in your senior year? Was you a prom guy?
Of course, had to.
All right, so
Had to.
your senior prom. Describe
Uh-oh.
three things for me. Describe your outfit, your haircut, and the type of car you rode in.
All right, so truthfully, my senior prom, I messed up my whole tux joint, but I still rocked it. I rocked like a silver gray joint, and it
Gotcha.
wasn't as bad as the blacks joint I rode my junior year, but I was trying to be different. I was a brush cut guy, so straight brush cut with a high top fade. I think Tar
Wait,
Samuel was giving us haircuts back then.
did you bring your brush with you? Did you have your brush with you at the prom?
No, I wasn't. I mean, I wasn't one of them keep my brush on me guys. Like I kept it low. Like the baldy was a stretch, but it wasn't that big of a stretch for me. And
Gotcha.
then I'm trying to think what we took on that. What I took to truthfully, I'm old school. I think I drove mom's car or something like that. You
No
know what I
doubt.
mean? Like we was
No
before that.
doubt.
Go rent a car out. So I think I had some type of like Ford or something. Like it
I mean,
wasn't nothing
you
that
was Rap
fly.
Curry. It ain't matter. It ain't matter what you pulled up in.
Now, when I got to college, we started tripping it out. You know what I mean? I
No,
got the connections, and freshman year, I broke out the Audi, so it was a little different ball game after
yes,
that.
the Audi for sure. The Audi 5000
Audi 5000, baby, but 11.
for sure. That's what's up. Okay, in the 80s, I love these 80s questions because you an 80s head. In the 80s, in the Philly area, if you wanted to get fresh, first day of school or needed to get fresh for something, where did you go to buy your gear at back then?
Man, I'm gonna tell you. down to, they had a shop in Upper Darby called The Balcony. I think that's where I got my two-tone leads from, something like that back in the day. And then I slide down to Philly, to go grab my kicks. So I remember just popping out like the Air Force Ones. That might have been like seventh, eighth grade with not the Air Force Ones. What was the top 10? That was the Adidas joints. Kick the
Of
top
course.
tens out. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So I mean, it was definitely like you went and my boy Leon's on here. We slid down to 69th Street, maybe grab some stuff. If not, we jumped on the train and went down to Market Street, found a store, and just bought up what we could buy up with our little bit of pennies.
No doubt. And was you a shell top Adidas guy?
I didn't rock the shell tops. You know what I mean? I ain't really rock the shell tops. Running them had that. Plus, I couldn't just rock with my laces all like
No
loose like
doubt.
that. But I definitely, by the time the shell tops coming in, I think I was starting to go Nikes. But I definitely rocked them top 10 Adidas. They was definitely on. And Pumas. Oh
Of
yeah,
course.
Pumas with the different colors. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I definitely rocked that too.
No doubt. What's your favorite sports movie of all time, if you had to pick one?
Man, sports movie. Um, that's an interesting one. I'm gonna come back to that. But you know what I watched and like, and it's funny. My wife, I saw, and I'll be killing her about dude. Joint he did though with Rocky, like the whole that joint that was real tough. They did it Philly style, especially when they was riding, driving the the little three wheelers through the streets. Like that joint was tough. But I'm gonna
Exactly.
try to say,
They captured the Philly culture right there with that.
oh, they strictly like put their hands on Philly. But I definitely, you know what I mean. I like Denzel when he was coaching. What was that movie? What was the joint with Denzel when he was coaching with the white and the
Uh,
black team? Classic joint there. I don't know why I
I'm
can't
drawing a
come.
blank. I forget which one.
Yeah, when he went in there and took over the coaching joint from the white guy, that joint was a classic.
I'm drawing a blank. I forget exactly what you're talking about.
Go ahead, but I'm gonna think of something else. Something else.
Can you hear me? All right. Favorite NBA player growing up.
Man,
Somebody said, oh yeah, remember the Titans. That's what it was. Remember
remember
the
the
Titans.
Titans? Yeah, yeah. Magic Johnson. I mean, I patterned a lot of my style, which was probably silly since he was 6'9". But I patterned a lot of like that get in the lane at all costs type style that
Mm-hmm.
way. Um, I didn't have Isaiah Thomas type game, so I was
Got you.
definitely a big Isaiah fan. But I would definitely say Magic Johnson, Isaiah. I was a big Mochi's fan. Shout out to the Sixers. Me and my brother got to go meeting when matter of fact, I think he got traded to the Spurs, I think, and then they came back to play, and I got to meet him. But I was definitely a point guard all the way. And then of course I like some of the smooth guys like George Gervin, if people remember that, Sidney Moncrief type dudes. Like I definitely like those in between players that could play the one, but
Mm-hmm.
also played the two. Like that's kind of really how
Got
I
you.
saw myself, but something
Got
like
you.
that.
Got you. If you had to go, we talked sneakers earlier. If you had to go with one sneaker throughout your full high school career, what shoe would it have been?
I'm gonna tell you one of the sneaks that, and it was funny. I mean, obviously we all made the transfer to Nike. That
Mm-hmm.
became the thing. I remember my first transfer to Nike was like the Dunks. I don't know
Okay.
if you remember the Dunks, and you could get those joints to match your uniforms. You go down to the city and buy whatever color that you could to match the sneaks. But I made the transfer to Nike like everybody else did. Um, you know, like I said, I started with the Adidas, but I was rocking Nikes by the time. So I want to say, when did Air Force Ones come out? Not Air Force Ones. When did they go on the Barclays?
Oh, the Barclays. Yeah, the Barclays
Yeah,
was they were definitely in the '90s, I believe.
that was '90s. They
If
running
I'm not
together.
mistaken. If I'm not mistaken.
But I definitely ran that. I made that transform to Nike. I've been a Nike guy. I hate to totally admit it, but Nike guy, and then of course a little time with Under Armour, um, a few years ago. But that's it.
No doubt. Last question, last '80s question before we get into the story. Coming up in the '80s, did you, and especially in the Philly area, Delco, did you experiment with breakdancing, beatboxing, or rapping, or anything like that?
Yo, I mean,
You know,
truthfully,
MC Rap or something like that. MC
if
Curry.
I if you know, I'm 48, but I would bust a rhyme out for you. You know what I'm saying? Like I was that serious with it. Uh, you know, we were breaking. I couldn't break for nothing, but we did it. You know, I had turntables in the crib. Like, you know, we used to
No
gang battle.
doubt, no
Oh,
doubt.
like we did that thing hard. You know, and you know, we came from the era where the Nile Swim Club would have like Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince there, would have Marvin Cash there. So like, we was a true hip hop community over
Oh,
there.
you's a true hip hop head. Like you talking
Oh
Cash
yeah.
Money and Marvelous. You's a true
Oh
head.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Then I did some time. I did some time with that when I got done with playing. I did that hard, but I was definitely a hardcore hip hop guy, and
Yeah,
I
so
definitely.
you say you were MC? You had some rhymes, huh?
Oh yeah, I wasn't rap for nothing. You know what I mean? I could drop a couple
Yeah,
bars
hey,
on
listen, all right. I won't put you to the test or put you on the spot, but can you remember one of your earliest rhymes and just say a couple bars to it? You can rap it, just
Here you
let me a couple
go.
bars. Let me hear something, man. Come on, let me hear
Oh
something.
man,
Come
here
on,
you
rap. Let me
go.
hear
See, you
something.
trying to put me out
Let
here,
me hear something. It's
yo?
Legends Week. Come on.
Hey, you trying to put me out here? You know, I'm gonna think about it. I got
No, it's
truthfully, I'm
Legends
gonna be
Week,
honest
man.
with
It's
you.
Legends Week,
I
man.
got a rhyme in my head and just I'm waiting for the first word to come from with that joint. But I used to call myself Captain Rap, so it was like I was the captain, and I'm trying to think who was in my first Bartram Ave crew. My man Live Lee's on here. We actually performed over at our elementary school when we was in high school, like high
Got
school
you.
or middle school. We actually performed on it. But it's gonna come back to me. I do got a full 16 in there somewhere, so I might have to bring
No
that out
doubt.
on you in
But
a minute.
before the end, man, maybe we if it comes back to you, maybe we can end with that, man. But that'll be so special, man. If you can recall that joint, I great. That'll be
uh,
dope, man.
yeah,
Well, hey, we're
you
gonna get
know.
right into it, man. So if you can, man, just take us, back to the beginning of where the Rap Curry story begins, and just start us off there, man. I'll interject out, interject with any questions if I need to, but just start it from the, start us from the beginning and let us know where your story begins at. We'll just start there. Hey, can you hear me, Rap? Hey, I can't hear you. I, hey, we got a bad connection, Rap. I can't hear you, big dog.
See
All
what
right,
I
that's
can get
better.
for
Wherever
you.
you are right now, like that's perfect right there.
All right. Um, I'm gonna say like my ball story kind of took off about 14.
Mm-hmm.
Really, like I mean, I was playing all the way up, but I went through like a weird stage. Like I really like hit like 6'2", like in seventh grade or something crazy.
Wow,
And
for real?
yeah, like they thought I was gonna be like 6'7" or something. But
Got you.
yeah, I started then, and really a couple of dudes from the neighborhood, like Hugh Dixon, really came out. He had played at Penwood in the '80s, and then I was coming home. He was home from college, and I'd be out back working on my game, um, trying to figure out what to do. And we started working out out back, and that just kind of became like when I started really working out to kind of get on my game. And then I slid down to, I started playing like high school ball, like in middle school. Like I was playing on the summer league teams and Sonny Hill, and started playing on those teams and
Listen,
seeing who they thought were the best players. Still can't get me. Hold on.
you're not. No, you was clear, but it started buffering on me for a second.
All right, I might have to switch back over to
You
the.
clear now. You clear good now. That's perfect there. That's perfect right there.
Yeah, so Sonny Hill kind of jumped off for me, and I got to see who people thought were the best basketball players. And then I went to Metro Index Camp. Actually, I went to Keystone, but then I went to Metro Index Camp, and that was the first time I got to play point guard, like on a regional level,
Got
and
you.
and, and that's when like the point guard thing really took off. And I came back, and my high school coach was like, "Yo, we're gonna play you at point," and that's when it just jumped off. It was my natural position, for real, for real.
Got you, got you. And what, if you can, for any individuals watching this that never got a chance to see you ball, what were some of your strengths? You know, what did you do well on the court? What were some of your strengths? You know, describe your game for us.
Truthfully, like I could do everything. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I had to learn how to shoot. You know what I mean? Initially, I was bricking, and I put a lot of time into becoming a jump shooter. Like, I mean, literally, like it was like jokes in the neighborhood because like I went through a season like in ninth grade where I couldn't even hit the rim. But my coach was working on my
Wow.
jumper. Yeah, he was working on my jumper, and he got me confident with it. Probably like 10th grade, I started hitting them, and then my junior year, I hit like 63s. But you
Wow.
know, I definitely was a ball handler guy, like, and it was simplistic. It was a, you know, get by you, crossover, get in the lane, but I
Hmm.
got big on you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I grew up as a post player, so once I got in the lane, you know, I threw that them hammers on dudes, and you know, I mean, I could find people in the lane. I could get in traffic and find people, and like our style in high school was kind of like with Golden State was playing the last few years, where it was just spread you out, get in the lane, kick it, shoot a
Got
three.
you.
If not, get back in the lane, shoot a three. So it was like that. We played small ball. So I guarded a lot of like four men on defense. We had a
Okay.
bunch of guards that was
Hmm.
nice. Like everybody could shoot, dunk, pass. You know what I mean? And we just pressured the hell out of you, got in the lane. And so I kind of led that by just being a big guy. It was always a matchup problem trying to guard me on the perimeter.
Hmm. Got you. At what point did you realize that you were becoming like the Rap Curry, the legendary, or just a really good player? Like, you know, you started to notice your names ringing bells outside of your area. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and you were becoming pretty good. When did you start to realize that yourself?
Um, I knew it, but I had to prove it. So like, you know, there wasn't no rankings and stuff. I mean, we had a little bit of rankings, but it wasn't like that. And for a Delaware County guy, you had to go down to Philly and win games, and that was my focus.
Uh-huh.
Like a lot of guys, it was funny. I was watching somebody argue on the timeline of who played in the neighborhood, and I really ain't playing in the neighborhood. Like I really traveled around and went and played, and then truthfully, I was down the Hill League seeing all the guys that was Division One players playing in the Baker League, and I always got to play around men. I rarely played against a lot of dudes my age, so you know, I knew 10th grade I was a Division One player. I was getting mail probably ninth grade, but 10th grade I started really getting that mail. But my junior year, I knew that I could be the best player in the state.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, whenever I just wanted to tell you also, whenever it's a legend in the building in the broadcast, man, I always got to shout him out. Shout out to my man John Linehan, you know, Chester High School
Oh
legend.
yeah,
Yeah. Shout out to
definitely.
John Linehan showing some love, man. Much love. Appreciate that. So if you can, let's go down memory lane real quick. We're going to break it down in segments. We're going to talk about your summer league, you know, memories. We're going to talk about high school. We'll talk about, you know, any camps you went to, ABCD, all that kind of stuff. The Donna Free, if you played up in Conshohocken. Then we'll talk about college. But let's
Yeah.
start with summer leagues first. Give me some of your most memorable summer league memories, whether it's Sunny Hill, neighborhood, outdoor leagues, just some legendary stories, man. Anything you remember from including like players you played against, anything.
Yeah. The craziest part for me is like cats that gave me work. Like they're the memories that stick out. They stick out more than me
Got you.
giving other people work. Like I expected to give work, but like I remember. So I had a team, like I said, we didn't have AAU back then. So my Sunny Hill team had Aaron McKee, Jonathan Haynes, Eugene Burrows, Harry Moore, Carlin Worley. Like we had Matt Maloney was off the bench deep. Like he didn't even get
Wow.
minutes. And like I remember a couple cats giving us word. My names forget me. The left hand kid that went to um, I want to say Tyrone Best. It wasn't Tyrone Best. It's something Best. But
Mhm.
came down and gave us like 35 down in McGonigal. Like that was crazy. It was crazy to have people like come and give you work down at your own spot. I remember some of the games because like some of the craziest players were people that you played against even in training. So like for me, Keith Woods was one of them crazy players. Like I know Keith Woods ain't like love the gym like that. Like he loved to
Mhm.
play ball, but he wasn't like a gym workout
Oh,
dude all the time.
somebody said Travis Best. Travis Best.
Travis Best, yes,
That's what I was
Travis
thinking
Best,
of, but I don't know why I didn't say it. Yep.
Travis Best. Yeah, I actually had to give him a headbutt up at Nike camp because he was giving us work up there too. I had to take him out. But yeah, like it's certain dudes that came along that you think that were kind of like, you might say they was all right, but you get them in the right setting and you were like, whoa, he's just on
Hmm.
fire tonight. And those were the things that really got to me and shook me up with it. And then I think I saw a lot of people get better, like watching Aaron McKee get better, because
Hmm.
I felt like Aaron was, you know, we all talking. I thought Aaron was like average to me coming up, but
Hmm.
like when Aaron started getting his jumper, I couldn't block it no more. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like
Because
I
he had
couldn't.
that high, that super high arc. It was
He
way
let
up.
it go. He let it go at the top of his joint, and he
Kind
had
of like
like a
how
good
Rasheed
inch and a half.
Wallace does. It may have been a Gratz thing.
Rasheed Wallace, and when I first time played against Rasheed Wallace, I was like, "Yo, this dude's a pro." Like, and he was talking trash. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you know, I had some really good experiences, you know, playing with them and then playing up with pro guys. The best thing that really in my era was the college and the pro guys played together.
Uh-huh.
So St. Joe's hosted all that. So
Hmm.
probably by 11th grade, I was playing with pro guys. Like
Wow.
dudes was like, "Oh yeah, you coming to go ball?" I'm like, "Man, I'm going to St. Joe's. I'm just waiting to get a run." You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And you know, it was crazy to play against like when first time I played against Barkley, it was just like unbelievable that a man could
Wow.
be that fast and that strong. You know what I'm saying? So like basketball in that day had a different track record. You know, now they have AAU basketball, so they play against their age groups and they're competing against their ages.
Hmm.
We kind of went and was like, oh, how can I get to the next level? So
Hmm.
how can I get to the college dudes? Or how can I get to the high school all-stars? And how can I get to
Hmm.
the college dudes? Then it
Yep.
was like, can I get with the pros? So that was kind of the track that I was on. I was playing against pro guys by junior year in high school.
Wow. So
Yeah.
that's crazy. I mean, I'm picking up a theme here as far as your development. These days, you know, parents are getting the kids the trainers. They're doing the skills and drills, the cones, you know, playing with kids their age. You know, AAU, and your development was more organic, just natural. Like if you went to the court, there was no age group or in the, you know what I'm saying? It was you played against grown men. And is that how you developed, or you worked on your game private, or you just played and just played, you know, amongst really good players to
Well, we
develop?
played, but I mean, I did train. I mean, I just didn't have a lot of people to train me. So the
Okay.
thing became to work out with guys who knew how to work out some, and then you borrow skills from each other. We didn't have a lot of coaches. Like my coach helped me change my jumper, but it
Hmm.
wasn't like he showed me like a double crossover or you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
one hard move to the left and throw behind your back into your right hand jump shot. Like those are things I learned against other players playing against them. And then like after the game, like yo, bro, you gotta show me how you train
I
that.
need that. I need that move.
And dudes would do that for you back in those days because it would be like it was respect. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So it was a different time for that. Nowadays everybody's paying trainers and I get it, you know what I mean? And everybody's playing AU basketball trying to get ranked, and I get that too. I mean, it's the name of the game and the culture and the money.
Hmm.
The money is crazy, but I played against men, so I knew how to play against men. By the time I got to St. Joe's as a freshman, I already knew how to play against men. So it wasn't. It was just kind of saying, okay, this is college basketball. I gotta find my own lane. But I
Uh-huh.
already knew how to physically play and body up and hold and grab and elbow
Yeah.
and headbutt and you know what I'm saying. Like it's I already knew man basketball, so that
Got
wasn't
you.
the hard part.
Got you. That's interesting, man. I appreciate you sharing that. One memory of yours regarding summer leagues. Anything you remember, like when you go into the barbershop, what's something that somebody may still bring up? Oh, rap! I remember down McGonigal Hall, you did this or you did that, or what's something that, or if I talk to Aaron McKee, or if I talk to somebody else, they may say, "Man, it was one day Rap Curry came in the gym and da da da." What's something that may stick out? You think?
Yo, you know the funniest part for me was that so a lot of political politics in that because they were the Philly guys. So I was
Uh-huh.
always the county guy. You know, I'd be starting, and there'd be somebody hating, somebody waiting to see me. You know, it was always so I just played it cool. But I always knew I was go to. So I know we was playing in a tournament, and literally I felt like Aaron and John was like freezing the rock from me. Like seriously, like I wasn't getting no shots, but I was cool. You know what I mean? Like I enjoy playing with other good stars. You know what I mean? There's anytime you want to play for your team in high school or college, you don't get to be the star. You don't get to shoot as much as you want. Like I think the good
Of
part was
course.
locking up people. So of
Hmm.
course we got down. We're playing a team from New York, And I forget how much. I'm not forget who they had on that team, but they was winning. They was nice. They had a big man too. And so down the stretch, like I hit three threes in the last like 30 seconds for us to win the game.
Wow.
And it was just one of, and I don't think I had points the whole game. Like I think
Got
those 9 points was my only points. But
big buckets.
it was like swing, swing, kick, knockdown. Still swing, swing, kick, knockdown. Oh, last trip to get the winner, game time. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like
Yes.
it was like, I mean, I looked at him like, yo, it was here all game. I just,
No doubt.
I played my part.
No doubt, no doubt. That's what's up, man. So, all right. So, transition into tell me sum up any way you want to. Tell me about your high school career. If you could just touch on a few things like any memorable games, rival games, players you played against, some of the toughest players you had to guard. And I can kind of ask you the questions as you go along, but just that's the kind of theme I kind of want you to break down if you could.
So let me give you this. My league had Chester in it and Glen Mills in it.
Wow.
So truthfully,
in the late '80s, oh, Glen Mills, Chester. I mean, dog, that's crazy.
So I think my junior year we lost in the Final Four to Chester by 1 point, and they won the state championship
in the
by
district
50.
or the state? The state semi.
The state Final Four. Yeah.
Wow.
Down in Palester. That's one of the games that people talk about all the time. Was us and Chester playing at Penn for the Final Four. They beat us by 1, and then they won the state championship by like 50. But we only lost to each other. I think we lost one game outside of our league that year, and all of us were super talented, like Division I players on them teams type stuff. And like, so Chester won it in '89. That was my junior year, and then Glen Mills won it in '90, which was my senior year. Wow. So it was like Billy Owens had finished his last 4 years winning the state championship in my sophomore year, right? And then my junior, senior year, the state champions were my league. That's how crazy the league was. And we're talking about teams. We played small ball. Like I was the second biggest guy on my team. Like Glen Mills was 6'8", 6'8", 6'6", point guard 6'1", 6'2". Chester was all 6'3" to 6'7". You know what I'm saying? Like we was out there really rumbling cats, shooting threes for real. So like that was kind of like the craziest part to me, which was I got a chance to go around the state and play. Go up Still and play, go Harrisburg play, go Reading play, and it's all about a lot of good basketball. Don't get me wrong, but like the best basketball was right in my neighborhood.
Yeah,
and that was prime. And then we would go play together sometimes down the Sunny Hill League and play as a group. So it was like Spears and Keith and Zane Shaw and dudes like that. So we got to go and kick it together too, talk about who was recruiting us and that type of thing. So that was great. And then the city teams was just always like a rivalry. Like I played with them on the Sunny Hill All-Star teams, but Aaron and John and the Worley brothers, like we just had a lot of good, solid ball players. We didn't have, in my years, we had some dudes that made the league and they were solid, but they were solid ball players.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like coming out of our area, you couldn't be a point guard that couldn't make a jump shot.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like it just wasn't there. And I just got to go against a lot of dudes that really had incredible experience as far as just winning basketball games. Like we won a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
We were 27-5.
Wow.
My junior year, 25-7 my senior year, and we were always playing undersized, and it was just great to pressure people full court and turn it up. So
yeah, what take us back through that that Glen Mills the Glen Mills game. You said it was Glen Mills down at the Plester, right?
So Glen Mills. So how about this, right? So
I'm sorry, no, it was a Chester down at Glen Mills. Yeah, Chester down at Glen Mills.
So I'm gonna go back
Chester
further.
Down at the Plester. I'm sorry.
So let me go back. So in the regular season, we played each other twice. Chester beat us twice in close games, and then one they stole from us. The referee stole that one down at Chester. I fouled out. Only time I ever fouled out in the history. I think I fouled out once in college. The only time I ever fouled out in all my playing, and they fouled me out in the fourth quarter with like 6 minutes to go, and I had like 28 already.
Crazy.
Like, it was crazy. But Chester beat us twice. We beat Glen Mills twice, and so they ran into each other in the district playoffs. We played Glen Mills in the district championship, and they beat us.
Gotcha.
So that was the first time they got us, but they was huge. I don't even know how we played with them. And then they had to run into each other again in states, and Chester beat them, and then we ran into Chester, and Chester beat us. So it was kind of like we didn't get either one of them in the state playoff. Like that's probably my thing was like, yo, I didn't get either one of them in one of those two opportunities to get that district or state championship. Like I lost both those games, and we was playing over our heads. I think just because we just played at a style people couldn't play at. Like we scored 100 points in high school. Like it wasn't. We was playing long ball way before, so that was the hard part for people because they would think, oh, we're gonna pound them. But you was getting twos, we was getting threes. So yeah, it was just phenomenal basketball at the high school level. So
yeah, what are some of your career highlights in high school that you remember? Just some dynamic games that you had, or just something that kind of sticks out to you. Think.
Well, I averaged a triple double, bro. So
wow,
it's like
straight like that, straight like
that, and like it's funny because people come into the gym at PENNWOOD and like Lamont Farrell scored 2,000 points, like Aaron Brown scored 1,700. He played at Roman for a year, but like I scored like 1,600, 15 something. But like I was like, yo, if I really was trying to score 2,000 points, I could have scored 2,000 points, and I did it in 3 years. I didn't play 4 years because
wow,
we didn't let freshmen play in my high school back then. You had to play freshman basketball.
wow.
So, like I wasn't really chasing the points like that. I was just really about winning, and that's what I think that was different about me. Like I knew I could shine and do what I needed to do, but I wanted to win. So, like I had nights where I had 35 and 30. Like it really took me to college to realize I can get 30 when I want. You know what I'm saying? So let me focus on that a little bit. But it wasn't really until like, I was really mostly about winning. So like I grabbed a lot of boards. That was an easy way for me to get the rebound and push the rock out. You know what I mean? Kick it up for a quick jumper or get the trail pass for my own jumper for a three. So it was just about really being effective.
Got you.
And, yeah.
Got you. Who's before we transition out of high school, who's one of the toughest or a few of the toughest players that you went up against personally that you definitely left the game and tipped your hat to him like, man, that boy tough.
I mean, it's funny because I don't really talk about Rasheed Wallace, but I'm gonna tell you, I don't think, and he was a couple years younger than me. I just don't think I ever played against anybody with his skill level. You know what I'm saying? But and then I mentioned two dudes, which are Keith Woods and Zane Shaw, because I just felt like athletically they were crazy. I felt like skill wise I could see them on a different level and make it difficult for them. But they just like Keith Woods had hands that he could just dominate the basketball with his hands and make moves and get by you and finish it on you. And then and I felt Zane was the same way, because Zane had a jumper. The Philly dudes, I'll give them their credit. Like I thought John Haynes was a good ball player, but we were competitive, so I'm gonna always say I win that battle.
No
Aaron was one of them dudes too. I thought Aaron just took another step in college. He took another step in college, so I guess I'll give it to them on my era of at my age group. But I think also I think Pooh Richardson, who was a little bit older than me, playing against him in like college and as a man, like he was better than I thought. Like he just had more to his game. I thought he couldn't shoot, but he had more to his game. And I told you about the Lionel story. So
yeah, that's what's up, man. All right, so
Randy Woods
for sure.
Randy Woods.
For sure. And let's transition into camp memories. I pinned a comment right here from David Capiona. I believe he reached out to me the other day. I think he said he played with you at the ABCD camp and all that. Yeah. So if you can, one thing that's interesting about this time period, 2020, just like you said earlier, all the kids are playing AAU. That's pretty much all they know. But back in your era, it was the Nike camp, ABCD, Adidas camp, all that kind of stuff. So tell me about some of your camp memories, most memorable experiences. And I always like to hear who were some of the players that were there with you at them camps and just anything you remember from them camp days.
So, one of the dudes that I was trying to see heavy, and I actually got hurt in college before we got to play, but I played against him at night camp, was Anthony Hardaway. Like that was one of the dudes that I was really trying to show on another level. Like I felt like there was always, to me, the guys that were impressive, because like I found weird guys to be impressive. Like I'll tell you, like I'll mention a dude like Rodney Rogers, but in high school, Rodney Rogers. was a monster. Like, he was stout and he could shoot threes and he could bang inside. Like, when you actually playing against a dude like that, it's impressive. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? It's
Yes.
impressive. Like, you expect a guard that can handle the rock. You like, all right, he can handle. Let me try to see if I can thug him. Some
Mm-hmm.
elbow play,
Uh-huh.
some. But when you run into like those dudes that were physically monsters, and they didn't all have to be tall, they
Yeah.
just could finish at the rim, they could shoot a jumper. They were problems, and so Nike ABCD camp was a struggle for me because I got in late.
Okay.
So I got in late to Nike ABCD camp. So I was actually a little disappointed that I was like, how I ain't get to Nike camp? Like, I'm first team all state. Like, how
Mm-hmm.
how I not get there? Then I got the call and I went, and then I played point guard 2 nights, and
But you mean literally got there late? Like the camp had already started, and you got there late?
they had
Or
already picked their roster.
oh, okay.
They had already picked their roster, and I wasn't on it, and so
Oh,
people reached out for me.
oh, so it was
People
already
reached out to
set.
me
You
and was like,
got in late. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
people reached out and was like, yo, how can you have a camp and be in Jersey and you don't have Rap Curry type jump?
Got you.
So
I got
that's how I got pulled in there, and I got put on the team late. So I played 1 and 2. And the funny part about it, the night I played 2, Oklahoma was there, and they recruited me heavy. I went to go visit out there, and they recruited me heavy, basically off a Nike camp,
wow.
and they wanted me to come play 2, which is not what I wanted to do.
Okay.
But it was right off of them, winning the national championship, or yeah, they just won it, or they lost to Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember, but they was right in the national championship game. And then um, Virginia they had some local representation. That's kind of where I thought I was going to school, but the
Okay.
coach left. The coach left. I had verbally committed to them, and then he left. And then and so the guy was recruiting me was from like the Delco area.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like the night camp was just great to be in that space with all those ball players that you knew could play. And it was one of those, I was still working through my pro confidence, right? Like, I was like, I told you I was about winning, so that's what I was about. It took me really to like, it took me until college to really go and say, oh, let me show myself to be able to be a pro type player.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's kind of when my mentality changed. But I was also around pro type players every day. I was around the Sixers, and Hersey Hawkins and Johnny Dawkins used to work me out, and Joe
Yeah.
Henderson worked me out regularly. Like, so it was like they started explaining the game to me of like how to become a pro and what you need to showcase. So
Got you.
um,
Who
I
who
think I
were
jumped off of that.
yeah, who were some of the players that you played against like at the Nike camp and ABCD and all that, and some of the memories that kind of stick out to you?
The memories more were, I think the funniest part was just like the evenings,
Yeah.
like people cracking jokes
Like
and
when there's
busting
no
on
basketball
people.
going on. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Those were the funniest parts. But like, I think the people that stood out to me were like I brought up Rodney Rogers because he was a unique player. Like, he stood out to me, and I brought up Travis Best because he gave us work. Like, I couldn't let him give me work up at camp because he was cooking me again up at Nike camp, and I just had to take him out. And then, but like, Anthony Hardaway, I said there was one that stood out. I'm trying to think who stood out on that team as well. You know what? Like, Grant Hill.
Wow.
Like, I'm gonna tell you, the interesting part was I got invited late to the USA basketball under 19 team.
Okay.
So they brought me in late, and Grant was there for a day, and then they moved him up to the higher teams.
Okay.
But he just showed you were like, damn, it's a different level when you 6, you can handle the rock. Because people forget Grant was like Michael Jordan for a minute before he got hurt. Like, he was killing the game. And it didn't really jump off in high school, but you started to see like, oh, this dude got different level
Glimpses
abilities.
of his greatness. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it was kind of like you saw him at Duke, and then next thing you see me like, damn, he's in the league giving cats work.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So like, it was kind of guys like that you see it before they break out. Those were the ones that stood out to me.
Yeah. Cool. In the Delco area, Philly area, suburbs up Norristown, and everywhere all around PA. End of the season after the PIAA state championships jump off, pretty much everybody trickles down and plays ball down in Conshohocken at the Donofrio
Donna
Classic. Did you
Frio.
play down there? Did you play the Donofrio?
Man, I went down the Frio like twice. I
Oh,
told
you got
you,
two chips down there.
man. So I'm trying to tell you, like that same St. Hill All-Star team, we played there. we played. Sunny had a couple tournaments, and I think we might have went to Jersey or a couple different places to play. Like we didn't go far.
Yeah.
And
So at Donna Frio, which you played with the Sunny Hill both times?
yeah, so
Like
we won it.
juniors
We
and
won it.
seniors or what?
Yeah. So right, sophomore year we lost to the seniors in a like a semifinal game, and then my junior year we won it, and my senior year we won it.
Wow. So who
Yeah.
was on your team each year, dog? Legendary right here,
So
man.
I tell you, like I'm trying to tell you, it was me, Aaron, and John Haynes, and Eugene Burroughs. Like there wasn't no guards that could dominate that. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody could handle the ball and do what they had to do. And
Yes.
then we had dudes like Harry Moore and Carlin Worley who were like big men but not big men. Like they could screen and roll and pop and shoot a jumper.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
and so you could get in the lane and get all the way to the basket and throw it out to them, and they're gonna knock down like a 15, 16 footer.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
so we didn't have like, you know, the guy that everybody thought was that next level pro player. We just had a whole bunch of dudes that could really, really hoop and
Yes.
could play. And like I said, like dudes like Matt Maloney didn't even really play much for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't even play much for us. We were just so guard heavy with that team. There wasn't nothing you could really do with it.
Crazy. And during the Donna Frio, who are some of the players, teams or players you remember playing against? Because you know it was a star-studded event down at Donna Frio, especially back then. Who you go up against a couple years you remember?
So I'm gonna give you one. Like this is where my basketball snobbish comes in. Like we were so much better. I don't think we paid attention to who he's playing. I remember my sophomore year playing against the seniors and being like, damn, we played against the Sunny Hill seniors and we in the semifinals. Like that was a big deal. I remember trying to think, who was that? It was somebody that stood out to me down at Frio. When we were seniors, when we were juniors, we knocked off the seniors. I'm trying to
Well, I
think
know a
who was
lot of
on
times
that
they would
team.
have like the guys come from Jersey or Delaware. That was road runners would
We
come
owned all
over.
that. We owned all that. Like
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
because like truthfully, if I would have played with my local team would have been the Chester Glen Mills dudes. But I was playing with the Sunny Hills,
Gotcha.
you know what I mean, sophomores and juniors and seniors. So it was like they was good and they was my guys. And if we was on it, maybe we might have been able to play against the Sunny Hill team if I was playing with them. They just didn't have enough guard power without, you know what I mean, without me on that type of team. And it wasn't just about me. It was just about like our Sunny Hill team just had like 4 guys guard wise that were pro like ability.
Yeah.
And it wasn't nothing you could really do.
Crazy. That's crazy, man. Hey, so you mentioned at the Nike camp, you mentioned like Oklahoma and then Virginia. So if you can right now, tell me about your entire like your college recruiting process. Some of the other schools that was recruiting you heavy, and then what ultimately led you to choosing St. Joe's.
You know the crazy is I was really heavy on like, you know, I was a Georgetown Temple guy. Like I was in the black coaches. I wanted to play for a black coach. Like that's what I wanted. Georgetown didn't recruit me at all, so I was hurt by that joint. And then Temple, what happened was me, John, and Aaron, and we started talking about the people recruiting us, and people found out about it, and we were just talking like in the locker room down at Temple, like, yo, I'm gonna get mail from them, and they told me I could start this and that. So we started figuring out like, oh, this is a game. What you gonna do? And so I'd always play in the league Philly. I thought Virginia was going to be the place that I was going to go. I wanted to go play in the ACC. They had 2 guards that were pro like John Crotty, and I think his name was Brian Stiff. They were good, solid pro players, and I was like, yo, I think this is a good fit for me. Definitely enjoy Loyola Marymount. You know, recruited us all. Me, John, Aaron, all of us. Like they got none of us, but they definitely recruited us heavy.
So they wanted all y'all as a package deal.
Yeah, they did. And it was kind of like, that's what kind of broke it out because we started talking about what they were saying to each one of us. And we were like, hold on, they telling me I'm going to start. And, you know.
So it was a big game. It was a big game. They had to tell everybody the same, because they knew they weren't going to land all y'all, so they got to tell everybody the same thing.
So that's what everybody started breaking off. Temple went really hard after John Haynes. Aaron didn't qualify first, so he was kind of in the wind a little bit. So, like, Temple's where I wanted to go. And John Haynes went there, but then he ended up going to Nova and playing for them. And then St. Joe's was always there. Phil Martelli and Jimmy Black. was always there at every game, recruiting me. I ran into a couple of Hawk alums the other day. They were like, man, we were coming to your high school games. And I really wasn't even going to go on my visit. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, I felt like I owed it. I owed it to them. You know, coach was like a father figure type dude. And um, so I went and I was like, when Virginia didn't pop off, I was like, they were like, look, we want to give you the keys. And I think, I was like, if I get the keys in the Big Five, I can turn it out. And so that became the plan. Of course, we had some injuries and stuff, but it just was that opportunity to go there and really kind of take charge in Philly and kind of set myself up, to where I was trying to go.
No doubt. That's what's up, man. It's interesting hearing like the behind the scenes stories. Like, yeah, it was me and Haynes and Alvin was talking about, this and that. I've heard other similar stories. Like when I interviewed Alvin Williams, I found out like just gems, man, that you just didn't know. There was no social media back then. There was no internet. You know what I mean? Like you ain't finding stuff out.
Yeah.
But Alvin Williams had told me some unbelievable story that Alvin, Rasheed Wallace, and like Jay Lawson and them, they were all going to go to Villanova.
Yes.
I was like,
yes.
bro, like that would have been crazy. But then he said, at the last minute, North Carolina came and scooped Sheed up. But I'm like, yo, like they were. He said Sheed was going to Villanova. Like they were all going there. And I'm just like, yo, this is crazy, man. Like crazy stories, man. But I appreciate that, man. So, hey, so what we're gonna do is. We're closing on our first hour, so instead of just letting it expire out, I'm gonna just end this broadcast, save it. It's only gonna take me like 30 seconds to save it, and then I'm gonna start a new one. So just rejoin me, and we'll just pick up right where we left off, talking about your college career, and we'll continue from there.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Yep.
All right, just rejoin me in like 30 seconds, and I'll bring you right back on.
All right.
Hey, we back. It's your boy Big Star, part 2 of Legends Week with my man Rap Curry, man. Just as I thought, just as I realized, man, he's a brilliant, amazing storyteller. The stories are crazy. Just an amazing story, an amazing journey so far, man. We're going to pick up with part 2 as soon as he joins us. And also, I forgot to mention at the top of the hour, we're going to have, I think I mentioned it, but I'll just reiterate it. Buggy Ortega, definitely follow you, big dog. We're definitely gonna have a Q&A with Rap Curry as soon as he's done telling his story. Pretty soon. So if you guys have any questions, anything that you guys want to find out about Rap Curry, anything that you thought he was going to talk about that he didn't talk about that you wanted to mention, start typing your questions at the bottom of the screen pretty soon, and I'll start penning them and or writing them down, and I'll let Rap answer those questions directly in the Q&A. At the end of the broadcast. So again, if you just tuned it in, you're tuned into the story of my man Rap Curry, high school legend at PENNWOOD, legendary battles with Glenn Mills, legendary battles with Chester. He's about to get into his journey at St. Joe's, where he was inducted into the Big Five Hall of Fame. And it's just interesting to kind of hear how his journey plays out. These stories are always amazing, man, because everybody has a story, everybody has a journey. These individuals are just athletically gifted, and this is all they've done. A lot of them, all they've done from since they can walk, and to kind of hear how the stories play out, whether it's this happening or that happening or whatever the deal is, man. It's just interesting to kind of hear how these stories played out with everybody starting in the starting blocks like all together, man. Another crazy thing is just to hear the stories at his Sunny Hill team, and how good they were, and the guys he played with, individuals he played with at these camps and stuff like that, man. Crazy stories, man. So we'll wait for my man Rap Curry to rejoin us, and in the meantime, the Legends Week series has been going on for a couple weeks, for about a couple months actually. I'm sorry, a couple months. So if you missed any of the, if you guys are enjoying this interview, if you guys have missed any of the previous interviews, I mean, I've had Marvin O'Connor, Rasheed Brooklyn-Borough, Jared Kearse, Marcus Green, my old head Mo Howard, Flip Murray, Billy Owens, Mark Jackson, Sean Colson, Junie Lewis. The legends have been coming out. Khalif Wyatt from Norristown, tons and tons and tons of legends, man, that have been on the platform. So you can watch all the previous interviews at rawsports.tv is the website, and also on the Raw Sports Films YouTube channel. So here we go. That time was a lot smoother.
I'm getting better at it, baby. I'm getting better
No
at
doubt,
it.
no doubt. All right, so let's pick up right where we left off. Tell me, let's just kind of go through your college career. You get the keys to drive in the Big Five, and tell us what happens.
Man, so the feature of the story was I probably was only averaging like 8 points a game, 7 points a game, like the first half of the season. And I had a crazy roommate, Bernard Blunt, right? So like the first game, I can't tell you the first real story, but I'll tell you the story on the fact he scored like 25 in our first game at like GW. And he looked at me, he said, "Yo, you had like 7 points." He's like, "We're playing with guys that had like 7 wins last year. Like, shoot the ball, right?" So, but it didn't kick in right away. Like I was trying to pass the ball, get involved. And then we played Penn State. So the A-10 in them days was crazy because we had UMass in there, we had Rutgers in there, we had Penn State in there. Like we had some big football, you know what I mean? Schools that are in big time conferences now were in the A-10 trying to prove themselves to move up. You know, and that's not to mention the Temples and you know what I mean, all those type UMass and all them, right? So um, it was just like it was deep. It was a real deep league, and like every night was just like a raw game. So we played Penn State up there, and I was sick, but you couldn't complain about being sick. And
Not at all.
I said something to something, and Martelli laid me out in the team room, like after with all the team and the coaches. Like we done gave you all this faith, we done gave you the ball, you averaging like 7, 8 points a game. So I was like, "Oh, what y'all want me to shoot?" And it was like, I think I scored like 28, 25, 30 the next week. I gave Rutgers 30 at Rutgers. Gave West Virginia like 25, 26. Like I knew I could do it. It wasn't programmed into me like this is what we need you to be for us to be competitive because we're playing against guys who are on the verge of being pros.
Yeah.
And so that kind of triggered and that led me into like a strong finish. We knocked off Doug and Randy, LaSalle down the stretch, and then we got into the A-10 tournament. And Rutgers was the number one seed, and so we won the playing game. Shout out to my man Grands, I see he just popped on. We won the
Hey,
playing
hey, real
game.
quick. Hey, sorry to cut you off. It's starting to break up. I can see you clear, but it's breaking up. You think you can go right like to where we was the first hour, like standing up,
All
or
right, let me
I don't
see.
mean to keep, I don't want you to stand up, but
It's all good. It's all good. I'm
that was
fighting.
perfect right there.
All right, let's see. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Yep. That's
All right.
perfect.
So we were playing Rutgers in the quarterfinals, and they had a couple dudes that transferred from Syracuse, like Earl
Okay.
Duncan and some brother named Hughes. And remember, it was Mike. I want to call him Mike Monroe was on. I can't think of Mike's name. Mike played for Pennsbury, but he was on Rutgers team too. I don't know why I can't think of Mike's name. You're getting old. It's like 30 years damn near behind your freshman year, right? So like
Time flies.
So we played them in like double overtime, and I know ESPN joined the game. It was down at the Palestra, and I had the game-winning three to like put us over and beat them. And they was the number one seed, and that's what kind of really took Mike Jones. There you go.
Mike Jones for sure. Mike Jones. Yep.
Leon Howard always remembers the name, and um, that kind of took me to like, okay, he's going to another level, and kind of put me on range and kind of started the platform and got me working out to a different level, lifting to a different level, training to a different level.
Got you. So, what was your mindset? Obviously, your mindset was going to the pros. So, what types of things were you working on to try to get to that level? What were some of your strengths? What were some of your weaknesses that you were still trying to work on to get to that level? Or was your game complete? Or, kind of where was your mindset as far as trying to get to the next level and what you were doing there?
It was physicality. It was really just like training, strength and conditioning and jumping. So in high school, I dominated and I could dunk, but I couldn't like two-hand dunk. I couldn't reverse dunk. Like I couldn't do. And I got to college and really probably by the end of my freshman year, we got a new trainer in called Kevin, whose name was Kevin Carroll. That's my man, lifelong friend all the way through. And I started getting on the jump shoes and started lifting weights with them and shooting jumpers with them and mixing them in. And physically, I started to change. So, and I had a couple meetings, right? At that time, St. Joe's had the general manager, might have been Brad Greenberg with Portland at that time, and Jimmy Lynam was with the Sixers at that time. And they felt like I could be a pro point guard if I was stronger. Like if I could show that physically I could like defend and be athletic at that level. Like I had Terry Porter type game in their minds, but
Yeah.
I felt like I was, I could be on that level. And so that really became the next level for me. I really got in shape for the first time because back in high school, I wasn't lifting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I wasn't running. We just played every day and trained every day.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't on that level. College got me to another physical level.
Yeah. Who are some of the toughest players you went up against in college? Some guys that went pro, or just some big games that you mentioned like Doug Overton and those guys, LaSalle. But who are some other players you played against?
So I'll tell you, I picked weird dudes, but one of the things that
Weird dudes. That's funny.
UMass was very impressive, man. For all y'all who really know regional basketball in the Philly area, Jersey area, was Lou Rowe.
Lou Rowe, legend, man. Lou Rowe played down to Frio. He played. I saw him down in Conshohocken. Lou Rowe was a beast, man.
Lou Rowe was dominant. I ain't never seen nobody that hungry. The only dude that was hungrier than that was Brian Shorter. That's a couple years before me. He played at Pitt. But like Lou Rowe could dominate big men at like 6'5".
Uh-huh.
And just his work ethic was crazy. I felt like Penn State had a few dudes on that team that I thought that was good too. And UMass even before then, before Lou took over, it was like I want to say it was like Hendon Williams and Tony Barbee was playing on that team too. Like they had some really good 6'4", 6'5" dudes that was tough, right? They were impressive. Some dudes that were better that you might know of, quietly, and I would hate to admit this, Kerry Kittles was better than people thought too.
Yo, Kerry Kittles was the guy for Nova. Kerry Kittles was the he's an underrated, not underrated, but under talked about. Like
yes.
As generations go on, people haven't really pulled his name up from then, man. So I appreciate you mentioning that. Kerry Kittles was a beast, man.
Kerry Kittles, Alvin Williams, you brought him up earlier. Alvin Williams was a beast too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're a little bit behind me. And so we beat Nova when Kerry was a freshman over there. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I think I took him out the night before, tried to get him a little too tossed up to play. But that was the other part though. We all used to hang out a little bit too, like, across school. But Kerry Kittles was one. Who else did I think that it was? I always mention the guys a little bit older than me. 8'10". Another dude who gave us work who I thought wasn't that good gave us work too. It was and this is gonna sound weird. What's the boy from Syracuse? Real skinny. Lawrence Moten. Lawrence Moten gave us like 25 up there.
With the high socks.
Gave us like 25 up in the Carry Dome, and we had them beat. And he came through and made a couple clutch baskets down the street.
Moten was smooth, man. Moten was smooth, man. Another guy that a lot of people don't talk about, man.
Yeah, I feel like those type of players were guys that like you sleep on because they didn't really turn out and have. Shout out to Angie, my trainer, just jumped on. A lot of guys don't always jump on. I think I see Magic too. And be really the dominant pro player, so you sleep on them. But when you play with them,
yes.
Like, and I'm gonna tell you a crazy dude that I thought was a lot better. This is gonna really sound corny, but when I would play with the Sixers, Hornacek was a tough dude to guard.
No doubt.
Because like you had to challenge every screen, and he actually had a little bit like crossover, one dribble, pull up, And you just find out like those players learn the game on a different level. And that was the part that I felt like for us, it was like we got to play against a variety of ball players, guys who could really shoot the ball and make themselves, like you watch Matt Maloney turn himself into like a shooting guard for the Rockets, where he just spread the floor. He wasn't the point guard that like handled the ball and ran the pick and roll all time. It was like he ran the play, get a ball up, and sat in the corner and made threes.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, dudes could find a different way to get in the league than it was
Of
just
course.
like handling the ball all the time and trying to break dudes' ankles. So we played against a lot of unique ball players in that time frame that had specific skill sets. You know what I'm saying? Like they might not have been a guy that like would get you at the park, but they're the guy that would get you in some organized ball.
Exactly. I appreciate you breaking that down, because it is a difference.
Yeah.
It's definitely a difference. And it's guys that can play in the park, they really can't do it well on the organized side of things. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, if you can do both, then, you know, that's what's up. Hey, real quick, lastly about college, what was it like playing for Coach Phil Martelli, man? And kind of what did you learn from his style and his mentoring?
So here's the funny part. Phil was the assistant.
Oh, that's right.
He was the assistant, and we built a good relationship. And you know, one of the things I probably didn't do is I probably should have went and worked for him just to have that experience to coach with him as a head coach. But he was the assistant, and he was a different type dude. He was quiet.
Yeah.
He was funny a little bit, but you know, he was fat then, so he got cracked on all the time. Like he really had to change his style to become a head coach, which is what I give him a lot of credit for. There's some parts of me that wanted to see Phil do some different things as head coach. I think we all have that, even with our close friends. But I think that he changed his style. Like he got in shape, he changed his wardrobe, he changed his persona, he changed his idea. And it wasn't that he was being fake. It was just the fact that he just assumed the position differently. So as the assistant coach, he was really a guy that you clowned on. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'd be like, yo, man, like, don't talk to me like that. You know what I mean? But he would have jokes back, though, which would make it funny.
Yeah.
He was funny from Delco, so he was funny.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So that relationship was a real good relationship, and it was a good one. Even while he was coaching, I would reach out to him personally and shout him out on what the team was doing.
And what about the head coach? You know, what was it like playing for him?
Me and John Griffin did not have a good relationship. We really did.
And that Matt Griffin's dad that played the coach that wrong.
That is Matt Griffin's dad. And I'm going to tell you, you know, I speak about it, like, and don't get me wrong, like, I don't hold grudges. I went and spoke when he got into the St. Joe's Hall of Fame, you know what I mean, for him. Because he was a different dude. He was brilliant. But he just wasn't good on the sidelines for us. His strategies for us were great. Our secondary game strategies weren't as great to me.
Gotcha.
And I felt like, but what he did do, he gave me a lot of confidence. Now, that put me in some bad situations with him because he would give me the ball and let me do whatever I needed to do. And then at some point in time, we hit a space where it just no longer worked out. And it was probably the injuries. You know what I mean? I got hurt my sophomore year. We played 1 year healthy together. We won 20 wins. You know what I'm saying? Every year, Bernard was hurt my senior year. Carlin was hurt was freshman year. So it was like we just kind of, every year somebody was ripping their knee up.
Yeah.
And so we never really got to play healthy on that level together. And that frustration probably played into all of us. But he was trying to control it, and you couldn't really control the team that I was running. It was my team. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I'm going to lead by example. And so that's what I did.
Yeah. Real quick, briefly, just kind of touch on, because you didn't mention the injuries. So you just kind of briefly mentioned the injuries. What types of injuries did you have during college? And then you can transition to talking about like life after college. You know, were you trying to go pro, and kind of how all that worked out?
Yeah, I mean, life after college went crazy for me. It was definitely different. And truthfully, getting hurt kind of changed my whole life. But really, I give people like this. I don't know if y'all remember when was it Kyle Lowry that tore his knee up? And who tore his knee up at Nova? Was it Kyle?
I'm not
but
sure.
Like, it's like, so literally, like, I was like a year or two before the technology really hit. And what we did incorrectly
As far
was,
as all the
instead of
surgeries
replacing,
and rehabs and all that stuff.
I had the surgery, but I had the surgery where they took a piece from like another part of your leg to make it your ACL piece. And what they figured out doing, it was easier to get. So here's the crazy part. It was easier to get it from like a dead person and get a new ACL that way. Now, I was born, you know what I mean? I got hurt in 91. We were dealing with the magic HIV thing. So they're telling you could get HIV from it. So that was like, oh, I ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? So like literally 2 years later, you know, people were really coming back. Now I came back in 9 months. I wasn't healthy. I probably should have taken a whole year off, and that would have probably given me. So, you know, I just would have needed. I needed time. My sophomore and junior year, I pretty much played hurt, but that was the difference. It was really that my knee injury was really the only thing that did it. But it was, you know, I think what people don't realize is the lifestyle that student athletes have. You know, that was one of the reasons why I got back in athletics for a while. Was just that, you know, I understand what a college degree can do for you, but what I try to explain to people is the lifestyle that a student athlete lives is crazy. Like it's schoolwork, it's ball, it's more ball, it's team ball, like it's individual training ball, it's team ball, it's study hall, and then you're trying to party and get a little life in. You know what I'm saying? Like you really have to focus in. Like my life is not like a party. My life is not this. It's really got to be somewhere where I'm gonna be a business man for those couple years and try to become a pro,
of course,
or try to get this degree. And I think that you know, I think the injury set me off that track a little bit, but it woke me up as a black man. So it was like it became part of who I became today. But it set my basketball career back years.
Yeah. Wow. What so you have injuries going on. How does your college career finish out? And then what are your plans for, you know, the next level or the next chapter of your life regarding basketball?
So I got to do a couple tours through Europe while I was in college. So I did it with my school, and then I started one, and it got broke up because the war broke out in the Russia area, whatever over there. So I got to get around and see what it was like to see people playing overseas. At that time, overseas still wasn't huge like that. So really for me, it was like, I can't do the NBA. I really wasn't looking to do a life overseas. And then I went a couple years over there to just see my boys that was playing. And it just wasn't like, I just didn't have the same hunger for it. But it was just one of those things where now as a man, I look back and say, I tell kids all the time, play until your knees go out.
Yeah.
Which mine has anyway. But you play until your knees go out because it's a chance for you to build money that's not there. But in those days, overseas hadn't really developed into what it was going to become. And so, you know, like I said, I just kind of missed that curve and didn't do that. But I had guys that were teammates of mine that kind of did it for a while. And then a couple of them who were a little bit younger than me did like 10 years over there, just playing from team to team, but living over there. Like, you can't come home. Like if you go into a small country to play and you get cut or fired or the team breaks down, like you gotta stay over there so somebody can pull you to another team. You can't come back to the States and chill.
And try to finagle it from over here. Yeah.
So it just was a different time period back then for me with that. But yeah, my knee injury was my only main injury that I had.
Was it so how did at what point did you say to yourself, you know what, I think it's time to kind of close this professional basketball chapter? And then how did you wrap your mind around like playing ball all your life, you know, one of the top players in the country, you know what I mean? You're watching guys you played against in the Nike camp and all that kind of stuff in the NBA. How do you close that chapter of your life and keep your sanity? Like, what'd you do?
I mean, truthfully, I was always an intellectual guy. Like I hear you on your comments talking about being blessed. Like I was a spiritual man, and my concept was really always about how can I raise myself and my family and make myself better. And so basketball became that format. You know, my mom put me on that. She was like, yo, they're gonna pay you to play, you're gonna go play. So, you know, we couldn't afford college. We couldn't do all that. So basketball became the way to do that. When I got hurt is when I got to see the business around basketball. When I got to meet the alumni. And I'm watching guys jump on the plane with us to go to games. And they're like, yo, I own this business and that business and this and that. And that's what kind of got my entrepreneurial hat on. But it also got my real estate hat on. But it just made me aware that, oh, this is a bigger business. Like everybody around me, you know, and this is not to bring race into it, but everybody around me pretty much at St. Joe's was white. And all their kids got to go to school for free.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so it became something to say, hey, like people are actually having careers off of my talent. So
Yep.
I have to start thinking about it differently, which kind of led me into some other fields like entertainment and sports, but then it really led me back into education.
Got you, got you. That's awesome, and I appreciate you explaining that. Young people definitely need to hear that because it's almost like with rapping and singing. Every rapper wants to be the rapper. They want to be the one with the mic out on the front. You know what I'm saying? But that's not where the longevity is all the time. People don't understand. It's like the business of basketball. So many other ways that you can contribute and make money and get involved, with the game. So and at some point the basketball is going to stop bouncing. What are you going to do then? You going to use your degree, or what I'm saying, kind of where you going to go? So I appreciate you talking about that, man, because the younger kids need to know you need to have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, and basketball doesn't work out, what you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you talking about that, man, because
Let me
that's
say one more thing on that, and
yeah,
I just want to say this because I don't see any of my students jumping on, but sometimes they check on stuff. You know, my mom was a single mom, and we moved into my grandfather's house, right? The house that he left for us, my grandmother and my grandfather's house. My grandfather had died, and she was strapped with bills, and so if it wasn't for the fact we moved in a house with no mortgage, I'm
mm-hmm,
not Rap Curry the basketball player. I'm a dude with some game who goes to work.
mm-hmm,
So like by the time basketball hit for me at 14, 15, she was like, yo, give up your telemarketing job and get away from working at the pool. Like basketball is your new business. And
got
so that's where real estate kind of became my thing. And it's like, I think that a lot of times that's the biggest thing that I try to tell people. There's so many jobs in sports,
yeah,
behind the camera, the
yep,
facilities,
yep,
like what you're doing right now and interviewing. Like there's so many jobs in sports, but people only want to show you the dude on the court and they
yep,
only want to show you the coach. If you really
exactly,
take time, and that's what getting injured for me showed me all the different people who were making money, making six-figure plus salaries
yeah,
and not playing. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Not
yeah,
working out, not playing, and it shaped my mentality, probably to a fault sometimes because I will quickly tell people you didn't help me shoot no jump shots. Like I
yeah,
will remind people like I paid for my scholarship, I own it, my degree, my this and that. I don't owe anybody anything when it
yeah.
comes to that. So, it's one of those things where it's like you have to figure out there's a lot of jobs around sports where you can live.
Yes, sir, for sure, man. I mean, other examples like way outside the box is referees. I know a guy. He's like he's the assigner. He's like the head assigner for the referees. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
it's tons of different ways to get
yes.
paid and to and that's a forever job. Being a trainer or it's those jobs are forever, man. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you breaking that down. I don't, like you said, you're a man of faith as well. You know what I mean? God's plan is a perfect plan. So I don't like to
Yes, it
use the
is.
word regrets or this and that. But when you think back over your journey, are there any things that you wish you could have done differently or changed, or you just, fine with how everything played out?
No, I will say too, but I don't really have any regrets. I believe that I'm living out my calling. And it's a lot deeper than what you show, right? A lot of times I'm working at the school and people see that part of it, and that's just a small part of my calling. But really, in essence, working with men and working with young men is just what God has allowed me to do and do it from a place where I'm not looking for pennies. You know what I'm saying? So, so when I look at the things that I didn't do athletically, I would have said that if I could talk to myself as a 48-year-old man, I probably would have told me to go hang out overseas and live over there and do that for a while.
Mhm.
I probably would have, because I love coaching, I probably would have told myself, go work for Phil for a couple of years and go do that just to say you actually did coach at Division One. I didn't really want those as careers. I mean, I would have taken those as careers, but it was more like experiences. And I think that that's the great thing that
Mhm.
basketball has for you. And it's hard to kind of process sometimes. Like, there's only so many years you can play. There's really only so many years you can coach if you're going to chase 18-year-olders around and give them scholarships, right? And there's only so much time that you can really get out there and play overseas. Like there's a window to it, and I think a lot of times we don't see 30 or 35 or 40 as a window until you get to be, 48, and then you're sitting here going and saying, "Yeah, I might have should have did those for my experiences." But no, my life has been blessed. I have a beautiful family. I got great kids. I have friends that are on this shouting me out, and I've been blessed to live my life.
That's what's up, man. Well, hey, I just want to I just want to shout out our audience real quick, man. Just want to thank all you guys for going the long haul, tuning in with us over this 2 hours, man. I just have two more questions for Rap, and then I'm gonna turn it over to the people. I'm gonna turn it over to you guys that's tuned in. If you guys have any questions, start thinking of your questions now. So that'll be like the overtime in this interview with Rap. Start typing your questions now if you have any questions for Rap, any encouragement, anything, and he'll address them as they pop up on the screen. But last two questions, Rap. What over your when you reflect back on your journey, what are some things that your journey has taught you regarding basketball and about life and everything? What has your journey taught you?
Man, I think the first thing is, well, I'm a very conscious black man, right? But so we talked about God in here, but spiritually, God has called us to humanity. And so really, in essence, one of the things that I've had experience of diversity. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm definitely saying, like one of the big things I talk about in education is how come we don't have enough black people teaching our black kids, right? That doesn't happen anywhere else. But that doesn't supersede the things that I've had through diversity. I've come against all types of people that have been a blessing to me and have sowed into my life. And so I do the same thing. I do the same thing trying to share it and share what comes down in my life. So, that's one of the biggest things that's happened to me. Traveling has been one of those other things, sports and, entertainment. I say a couple of dudes I did entertainment with like grands in there. Like I've gotten to travel the world and I'm looking to, the last few years I've been in Delco and I really haven't been anywhere. Like I've been at PENNWOOD and home and maybe little vacations with the wife and the kids. So I'm looking forward to traveling again and seeing the world. When you see the world, it opens your mind up to things that are bigger than what you can really think about when you're just going through the neighborhood every day. So I think sports gave me an advantage to that because I've just been places that, some people dream about.
Got you. Last question, man. If you can, you're in education, you deal with the younger generation. If you can, it's young kids that are probably watching this right now or that are going to watch it, want to upload it to YouTube later. Speak to them right now. Speak to that young, 16, 17-year-old basketball player who thinks he has it all together, who's, fully in with this whole hoop journey. Talk directly to that kid, man, and give him some advice.
So the first thing I'm going to teach you, you know what I mean, and is that this is all a platform, right? This is all entertainment platform, which is what basketball is. Part of this, even being Rap Curry, like my name transcended. Like I think that I would have been a pro player because of my game, but I also had a transcending name. Like this is entertainment. But what I'm really trying to get you to understand is you got to get educated. And education is not what you learn in K to 12. Education is what you process into your spirit as an adult so that you can really see what's going on out here. And that's the biggest thing. I was a hardcore hip hop head. I was hardcore. Our music was a lot different, but there's so many people out here that are just focusing on, they don't focus on education because a lot of education is BS. You know what I mean? I'll be the first one to tell you, I didn't learn about Black Wall Street until I was an adult. Like how are we not teaching that in K to 12, right?
Of course.
You got to find education for yourself. And I think that if you really can start to learn how to, as young people, use your technology, like we had to go to the library to get information and look at microfilms and stuff like that. Like y'all got a phone. The phone has all the information you want, but you got to ask the right questions.
That's right.
And I think for a lot of y'all, getting money is not hard. Like you can get money. Like that's not really the hard thing. The process is, can you be sustainable at it? Can you have it? Or is it going to be dope money and it's going to be quick and you're going to be in jail and your family's going to be broke? And now you're setting generations of the same process. So really, in essence, this is about starting that new process. I tell people all the time, like I brought up my grandfather. He bought a house in 1946 with $1,800. I don't know where he got $1,800 in 1946, but he did it. You know what I'm saying? And I lived through it. My family lived through it. I took my family there before we bought a house. Like, you got to start changing the platform. And that's what we need, especially these men to do, because the women are doing their thing. Black women are doing their thing.
100%.
We got to raise these young boys to become educated. Stop treating them like hoes. You know what I'm saying? And start realizing that they're raising women up. And so that we can start changing things up. When we start to change the thing up, it's nothing that anybody else can do because we can speak for ourselves.
That's what's up, man. Well, I mean, all those words that you just spoke, man, it's not one thing that I think is more powerful than the other. Everything that you just said, man, and those keys to success or those words of wisdom, man, were just amazing words, man. I'm gonna definitely, probably chop that up, crop that, and put that out there, and then, share that in a separate way, man, for the younger
Appreciate that.
generation, for these young players to hear that, man. Powerful stuff, man. I just want to thank you. So I'm gonna do my my formal thank yous at the end, but I'm gonna just get to the questions while we still got our audience locked in. So listen,
Right.
it's on you guys right now. We got about 21 people in here. We got a great audience. Anybody has any questions for Rap Curry? Type your questions at the bottom of the screen right now. Here we go. Oh, somebody just left a comment. It says, we as the future need to recognize what is right and wrong and how to better ourselves. Appreciate that.
Yes.
Appreciate that. Anybody got any questions? Any questions for Rap Curry? Anything that you guys want to know about his career, life, any personal advice, anything y'all want to know? While the people, get some things they want to ask. Do you ever think about what things would have been like if you wouldn't have gotten hurt? You ever kind of like, to kind of throughout your path, would you kind of visualize that at all, or just think about that, or nah, or?
I would have been a pro. Like, I don't really question that myself. I just was around a lot of pro players, and I was smart enough to understand how to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have, and it's funny, Jim Lynam said to me a long time ago, he said, if there's 12 guys on the team, the top 8 players are the best players in the world. You know what I mean? He was like, 9 and 10 are guys that can run practice really well. And he's like, the other guys, they only going to be here for a couple of years. They may not get a pension. I'm going to tell you, on my worst case scenario, I would have been 9-10. Now, I like to think I was going to be 8-5. That's my pride talking. But, I definitely understood how to run practice. I understood what point guards needed to do. I knew how to get the stars to basketball. Like, I'd have made myself a pro guard.
No doubt. Lively 72 says, talk about the center. Talk about the center.
So first of all, Leon Howard's one of my teammates, and Leon was mad explosive. Personally, I probably hurt Leon's career because he was playing point guard before I transferred over to the spot. But Leon, Division III All-American at Lincoln University, football and basketball. And I'm telling you, like, I didn't lead us in scoring because Leon was dropping buckets. And so we played at the center. That was behind my house, behind his house. And we played there every day, and that's where we got our workout on. And, of course, nobody won over there when we was playing. We owned it.
No doubt. The man, Bigot, wants to know, Rap, who was your biggest basketball influence growing up?
So I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give a shout out to Hugh Dixon. He took us everywhere to go play. He was the first dude that was like, "Yo, if we leave down here, at 16th and Susquehanna, you gotta walk home." So like, he was the first guy that took me to get out the neighborhood and go play over down West Philly. Well, I can't think of the spot in West Philly where we used to go play. But like, he would take me all over different places to go play. I'm gonna give him a shout out on that. He kind of started that whole thing for me and my crew.
No doubt. Hey, did you play down 16th and Susquehanna?
I played everywhere, bro.
Tell me about that real quick. You mentioned that earlier. What was your legacy down 16th Street?
I mean, like, it was like one of those you pop through. Like, I think when you pop through with a 5 and you play, I think the whole thing for us, right, was like we was ball players. So we knew the one thing. As long as we don't come in there, we going to talk a little trash, but as long as we don't come out and be like, we going to shoot cats up, we was good. So, like, we would go, we went all over and played. And that was what Sonny Hill would do for us, too. Like, we found out where Cass was playing at, and they'd be like, yo, they'd be over there. And, we would get that. But, man, Parkside, I was trying to think about Parkside. Like, it was just a lot of different places that we would just pull up to, and I didn't know where we was at.
Yeah,
I mean? I was 14. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
and so I didn't know what 16th Susquehanna was until, like, I started going down Sunny Hill, and they was like, oh, you was over there? I was like, yeah, like,
no doubt.
I was just playing ball, being quiet. You know what I'm saying?
I know that's right. Just playing your position.
Yeah.
Jimmy wants to know, how did you keep your mental game healthy and maintained during everything, like your mentality?
So my focus was always on my training, and I watched a lot of film. Even in my day, I studied film. That's kind of the coaching aspect of me. So I knew what the other teams were going to do before I got on the court. So I already had my mind made up to like their first adjustments, and I was playing the second adjustments. And then I was always trying to figure out what teams were going to try to do to me, make me a shooter, not let me get other people the ball. trying to keep me from rebounding, so I couldn't start fast breaks. But I was a student of the game, so mentally it was just always about really trying to figure out what the other team was going to do and being prepared for it.
Got you, got you. Oh, if nobody else has any, if any, hey, you guys ask, we got the legend here, Rap Curry. If you got anybody has any more questions, go ahead and type them. I just have two more. Something just popped in my mind. Who are some of your favorite Hawks of all time? A couple of your favorite.
Yeah, that's a good one. So I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you my favorite one is Delonte West.
No doubt,
And
no
I
doubt.
and
Shout
I
out
and
to
I'm
Delonte,
gonna be
man.
honest with you,
Shout
and
out
I'm
to
gonna say that
Delonte, man.
Jameer Nelson's my guy. Like
Yes,
he's a guy came from the same thing. Him and Rashid Bates, I feel like were like the next generations of me. Like they did it better than I did it. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I feel like I paved the way for them. But Delonte West was probably the most complete ball player I ever seen in person. Like he was one of the few dudes I walk out as a alum and be like, yo, bro, like your game is incredible. Like your one dribble, stop and pop. And he was playing with Jameer. So
yeah,
Jameer dominated the ball.
yes.
Like he would do what he did on a couple plays, and praying for you, Delonte, that life will just, even out for you the way you needed to for your health. But yo, Delonte West is probably my favorite St. Joe's ball player of all time. And then I got to shout out my young boy Aaron Brown, who went to PENNWOOD and went over to St. Joe's and played there too. It was always good to see a fellow PENNWOOD guy walk in the same footsteps you walk. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. Mr. Rated Doctor 3 wants to know who's your favorite point guard that you tried to emulate when you were on the court?
I definitely tried to borrow from Magic, but I was an Isaiah Thomas fan. So I was always trying to emulate the guys who could not only get in the lane and make people better, but that could also score. So, they were the top two guys on my list was Magic and Isaiah. And then, of course, the General Mo Cheeks.
Got you. Angelique Buchanan wants to know if you didn't focus on basketball, do you think you would have continued playing soccer?
Shout out to Angie, my trainer. Yo, I'm gonna tell y'all, I would have been a Division I soccer player.
No
Shout out to my
doubt. That's
man
what's
Butterball.
up.
Like I literally played soccer probably until 13, 14. That's probably why I wasn't a center.
Mm,
Is I grew up playing soccer. We lived in a community where they didn't have football, and so it was like you play soccer because you had to live in your communities to play in those days. It was like weird. So, you know what I mean? Yeah. So
do you
I
think that
played.
soccer did soccer help you like a good cross training
Oh,
sport? Soccer help
it's
you play
definitely
basketball?
that was crazy. Even in college, sometimes I would go out there and play with the soccer players just to
Hmm.
kind of show that I had the diversity. But yeah, like my man Live Lee's on here. Like we played for real. Like we traveled the country. Like just kind of like AU basketball. Like we
Yeah,
played for real. And what you can do with what you can do. First of all, soccer teaches you to be on your toes, and it teaches you how to make moves without using the ball. You're like moving around there. So that's all to your herky jerk game and your crossover game is just your footwork.
that's what's
Definitely.
up. Couple more questions here. Once somebody wants to know, Rat, if you could play with any five NBA Hall of Famers of all time, who would you choose?
NBA Hall of Famers. So definitely, I'm gonna put Magic. I'm gonna put Jordan just for the sake of just watching Jordan play in person. I would have loved to have seen that. Um, I'm gonna say definitely Kobe Bryant. I'm probably Kobe. He's probably the guy that like I have met and knew a little bit that I just was like flawed with his game. And y'all keep asking me about these 16 bars over here. I'm like gonna leave
You
y'all
see, I
alone.
pinned it. You see, I put it right there.
Y'all got
They
those
want to hear
16
you
bars.
rap. They want
I
to hear
can't
you
even do
rap.
it. He gonna put me on YouTube or something, and y'all gonna have jokes forever.
No, listen. No,
You know what I
listen.
mean?
I'm not sure if you're aware, but I am a true hip hop head, dog. Like I have a long rap hip hop culture history like that you wouldn't believe. Like it's in my
I'm
blood. So
gonna.
I'm really at all right now. Listen. I can quote every line, every sound of Beach Street. Like that's just fresh groove. That's what I do, Rat. That's me, man. It's just that we
Listen, we're
talk
gonna
about
have you come
basketball right
shoot
now.
it. We're gonna have you come shoot the show at our studio. My man Grands is on here. We're gonna have you come shoot the show at the studio. That's what we're gonna do. And we're gonna have a mad jam session. We're gonna make that happen. I see your 717. You ain't that far from like Fountain Hills, Lehigh Valley. We'll make that happen.
No doubt. But hey, anybody got any more questions?
That's it. Y'all ain't got nothing else for me.
I think that's it, man. Hey, all right, is there one line that you remember from any of your movies? One line, anything, one line,
uh,
half
see,
of a line.
look, you about to listen. I'm gonna say this, and I'm out. I appreciate this, and I believe it to the core. But I don't really want to show y'all what I could endure. If I dropped a few rounds on y'all, I'd be too deaf. But I'm gonna tell you this with my last breath, off the top of the dome from the microphone. R.E.P. be with me. I see
No
y'all.
doubt.
I see y'all.
Hey, listen, real quick. I appreciate that. Hey, before we tune out, man, is there any last minute, any shout outs you want to give? And just any last minute things you want to say just about the platform we're on, you know, Legends Week. Just any last words you want to say.
I see Gerard Collins Summer League games in there. Shout out. I just want to say to everybody, you know what I mean, thanks for joining and being a part of this. We just got to continue to bring ourselves together. We're in a culture shock time, and all these people I see that's on here, you know, there's a lot of good people on here. Shout out to my Bartram boys and then my whole squad at PENNWOOD that works with me. We change lives. What we do at PENNWOOD with a lot of lack of resources, we change lives, and we just got to keep coming together and asking God to bless our plans so we can keep moving forward and help these young people. They need us. They need us.
That's right, man. Well, hey, thank you so much, man. God bless you. You know, continue to you know, impart, man, so much wisdom and just your all your positive energy into this younger generation, man. Thank you so much for all you've given to the culture, man. Thanks for all the good memories, man. And just, you know, just bless you going forward, man. And thank you so much for joining me. And I know how precious time is. So thank you for joining me, man, for almost 2 hours tonight, man. Thank you so much, Rap. I appreciate you, big dog.
Appreciate you. Appreciate what you do. I'll keep looking. I'll be watching the show.
For sure, for sure, for sure. Thank you, man. And
Right.
just to let everybody know, this entire show is going to be up on my YouTube channel probably tomorrow or the next day. Raw Sports Films is the YouTube channel, or the website rawsports.tv. That's where you'll see it all. Thank you, Rap, and keep tuning in, big dog. I appreciate you, man.
I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir.